Hello everyone, it is day 4 on these amazing spoilers and new releases and reprints and announcements and everything that is fun to do with Ikoria and also Commander 2020. So, I've got more cards for you today. A huge amount more cards. Some of these were released yesterday or the day before and I just haven't had the chance to get round to them yet. And I've made sure to go through as many as I can for reprints. So hopefully I'll be clear on what is a new card and what is just a reprint. But either way, it's just fun to see the card and see the art and have a look at them. So we'll go straight into it. We'll see what we've got. So we've got a Thieving Otter to start off with. A 2/2 creature otter, 2 and a blue. Whenever Thieving Otter deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. A little bit like Audacious Thief, I think it was called, in M20, but it has to deal damage rather than just attack. But even so, make it unblockable or something, get some card draw off it. Yeah, it's okay. So some of these have been translated on MTG Goldfish, so appreciate them for doing that. It's always good. So when the real ones come out, they'll all probably have slightly different names because translations won't be perfect. But either way, whatever Rooting Moloch is, a 4/4 lizard for 4 and a red. When Rooting Moloch enters the battlefield, exile target card with a cycling ability from your graveyard. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. So, you know, good if you want to, again, recur something. This has also got cycling for 2, so 2, discard and draw a card. Obviously, when you're cycling things early doors, it's because you have a use for them or the mana for them straight away. So the fact that you can bring a card back that might be later on more useful, sort of 6, 7 mana maybe, could be a useful card for getting sort of the end of game. Ominous Seas. Again, whether or not that'll be the name, we yet to see. It's an enchantment for 1 and a blue, and whenever you draw a card, put a foreshadow counter on Ominous Seas. Remove 8 of these counters and create an 8/8 blue Kraken creature token. That, in blue, with the amount of card draw that's going on, and cycling and everything else, could be really OP. For 2 mana, your 2 mana, turn 3, you get a few card draw spells out there. Turn 4, you're forcing your opponent to get rid of something that's worth 2, which I think is quite useful. Or you're getting an 8/8, or you can cycle it for 2 itself. So, yeah, I like that card. Migratory Greathorn. Mutate. Oh, what am I doing? Mutate straight into the card text. It's a 3/4 beast for 3 and a green. Mutate 2 and a green. Which is, again, one of the lowest mutate costs I've seen is 3. Whenever this creature mutates, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped for 3. I think that's pretty good, and I think that could feature as it's potentially doable over and over again. But alright card. A Bosch, the Prey Piercer, again, whether that's the right name we don't know yet. 3/5 Hellion Horror for 3 Rakdos, so black, red, one or the other. It is a companion, and this is the counter companion to the, I can't remember which one it is, that, like the Kraken I think it is, that has to have even cards. This is the odd cards, so if a source you control, all non-land cards in your starting deck must have an odd converted mana cost. If a source you control with odd converted mana cost would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to a permanent or player instead. That's pretty cool. So you have potentially a deck filled with odd mana cost creatures, and I don't know, so 1, 3, 5, 7, which is pretty good for red. Quite a lot of 1-drops, and black, to be fair. And then this can just be sat there ready, and then you can just play it out of the companion zone for 5, and then bang, everything's doing double damage out of the deck. Pretty good. So we've got the green Mythos of Brokos, again, if that's the right one, we don't know. It's a sorcery for 2 green. If blue-black was spent, so again, this is one of those where if you spend different types, you get better things. Search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle your library, and then it says return up to 2 permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. So graveyard recursion, that if you pay specific mana cost on top or within the CMC, you get to potentially tutor a card from your library into your graveyard and then into your hand. Pretty good, yeah, okay. Quartz Forest Crusher. That probably won't be the right translation, but even so. A Dinosaur Beast. Love us some Dinosaur Beast in Gruul. 2 red, green for a 6/6. Trample. Whenever one or more creatures you control with Trample deal combat damage to a player, create an XX green Dinosaur Beast creature token with Trample, where X is the damage dealt by those creatures to that player. So you deal 10 damage, you get a 10/10. Or Trample. 10/10 Trample Dinosaur Beast. Yep. Like it. Feature fairly well, I expect, in Commander 2. Yeah. Not a bad card. Barrier Breach for 2 and a green. Instant. Exile up to 3 target enchantments. Instant spell that gets rid of 3 enchantments. Again, in current meta, some good decks out there in Standard that are absolutely loving enchantments. Yeah, it's been big. Enchantments have been really big in Theros, so to see that card's good, and cycling for 2 as well, so good for any cycling decks. And first of the Commander 2020 cards for today is the Eon Frolicker, another otter, which is good to see. We've got other otters that aren't gonna get banned. Elemental Otter, I love an elemental. 5/5 for 2 blue flying, which is great. All that itself is fine. And then this really interesting, I think everyone's sort of talking about it as a bit of a bargaining piece, a bit of a politicking card. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, target opponent takes an extra turn after this one. And until your next turn, you and planeswalkers you control gain protection from that player. So potentially, if you think you're going to die to a player anyway, you could get yourself protection from it. It could just be one of those early on where you say, get another go, you know, get a card out. Don't know. Interesting card. Who knows? Fun mechanic. See how useful it could be. And then we've got some of these cards which have come out, which are the sort of partner cards. And it was hinted when they were released that the partner mechanic is the same as has been with having 2 commanders. Doesn't necessarily say that, but I assume that that's what that would mean. But this is the Ikoria Stalking Shadow, which is a 2/2 Whale Wolf for 1 blue-black. Obviously a legendary creature. Partner with Khazur Ruthless Stalker. And it means when this creature enters the battlefield, target player may put Khazur into their hand from their library and then shuffle. It can't be blocked, and when it leaves the battlefield, it deals X damage to target player, and you gain X life, where X is its power. So it would potentially deal 2 damage, and you gain 2 life, because that's its power, but obviously if it increases, etc. And it pairs with this, which is the Khazur Ruthless Stalker, which is the human warrior 3/3 for 3 and a green, which partners, and that again says, when this creature enters the battlefield, you may put Ikoria Stalking Shadow into your hand from your library. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on it. So Ikoria is unblockable and gains a 1/1 from Khazur. Interesting. Yeah, that'll be all I'd say. Interesting at this stage as to what that will look like. Nascent Metamorph, a shapeshifter for 1 and a blue, and it's a 1/1. Whenever Nascent Metamorph attacks or blocks, target opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card. Nascent Metamorph becomes a copy of that card until the end of turn. Then that player puts all cards revealed this way onto the bottom of their library in a random order. So if you know somebody's playing really big, beefy creatures, or you think that they've just put a beefy creature on top of their library, maybe there's a way of manipulating that with cards. This then comes out big, yeah, for 2. Like it. Ravenous Gigantotherium. For 5 green. It's a 3/3 beast that has, it's quite small text, Devour 3. As this enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. This creature enters the battlefield with 3 times that many +1/+1 counters on it. I'm thinking token deck straight away. When Ravenous Gigantotherium enters the battlefield, it deals X damage divided as you choose among up to X target creatures, where X is its power. Each of those creatures deals damage equal to its power to Ravenous Gigantotherium. So as long as you've got something with a slightly higher toughness than power, potentially this could kill more things than kill it. Or it could just be a big old board wipe potentially and then just die. But I love the fact that you can just plow through tokens, 10 tokens, and you're getting yourself 30 +1/+1s. Becomes a 33/33. Unless I've got that vastly incorrect, that is significant. And then it deals 33 damage divided among other, yeah, crazy. Decoy Gambit, an instant for 2 and a blue. For each opponent, choose up to 1 target creature that player controls, then return that creature to its owner's hand unless its controller has you draw a card. So it comes out, if you've got 3 opponents, if you're playing Commander with the 4 of you, then potentially you get rid of 3 creatures back into the hand, or you draw 3 cards or any combination of. For 3 mana. Yeah, okay, that's alright. Early game could be quite useful. People will probably get you drawing cards, which is quite useful, or you're clearing a board. Heavenly Whale. Elemental Whale. Oh, I love Elemental. 3/3 for 4 blue. Has Delve. Each card you exile from your graveyard while casting this spell pays for 1. So it could be literally a 2 mana 3/3 Elemental Whale with flying, because all Elemental Whales need flying. Whenever Heavenly Whale attacks, you may put an instant or sorcery exiled with Heavenly Whale into your hand. So yeah, it comes out, you get rid of a load of instants and sorceries, you cheat this out for 2, it flies through, does 3 damage, you pull back one of those instants or sorceries. Like it, like what that does, quite simple, quite good, useful in a lot of blue and blue-red, etc. decks. And here's another one of these partner cards, Shabraz the Sky Shark. It's a 3/3 shark bird, lots of birds combos, 3 white blue, partner with Braylin Sky Shark Rider. It's a flying, obviously, because it's a shark bird. Whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on Shabraz the Sky Shark, and you gain 1 life. So you draw a card, you buff it, you gain life. For either a white or a blue, target human gains flying until the end of turn. Couples with Braylin the Sky Shark Rider, which is 3 and a red, for a 3/3 human shaman. Again, it's got the partner mechanic. Whenever you discard a card, put a +1 counter on Braylin, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So if you're cycling, you're discarding a card, drawing a card. So you're gaining +1s on both Braylin and Shabraz. You're dealing 1 damage and you're gaining 1 life. Dealing 1 damage to each opponent, very red. And then for a red, target shark gains trample. So you're gaining flying on a human with Shabraz, you're gaining trample on a shark with Braylin. Useful if you get them both out, but they're both quite expensive. So potentially in Commander, yeah, you could smack them both out. Interesting combos, like it with cycling. I believe it's part of the cycling deck that you get anyway. Yeah, good, like it. Kelsian the Plague. A 2/2 human assassin for red, white, black. It has vigilance and haste. When Kelsian the Plague gets Kelsian the Plague gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. And if you tap then Kelsien deals 1 damage to target creature you don't control. When that creature dies this turn, you get an experience counter. Now, there'll be rules that I don't quite fathom around it being vigilance and you being able to tap it after you've attacked, etc., etc. I feel like this could kill something, or something else could kill something. This can tap. You're gaining those experience counters quickly, and before you know it, this thing's really blown up. Quite a good individual card. Yeah, especially when you start combining in some like direct damage spells and things like that. So, yeah, quite a funky card, and it's legendary, 3 colours, so could be good as a potential commander. Mass Extinction, sorcery, 3 and a black. Choose odd or even. Exile each creature with converted mana cost of the chosen value. 0 is even. So what I like about this card is that we've seen 2 different cards so far that have a companion rule of even and odd. So one has to be an even deck, one has to be an odd deck for it to be a companion. So you can build an entire deck, potentially even a commander deck, based around either even or odd. Play this card, or if you know somebody else is or whatever, this is quite a useful card to have. You're getting rid of arguably half of everything. And if you're playing just odd or just even, you're not going to be touched at all. Tiger's Strike, an instant for 1 and a white. Target creature gains +2/+2 until end of turn. If it's blocking, put 2 1/1 counters on it instead. Or you can cycle it for 2. Yep, okay, very white. Unbreakable Bond. It's quite cute. Don't know what that is in the background, but it's quite cute. Sorcery for 4 and a black. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a lifelink counter on it. So there's a lot of cycling going on. There's a lot of discard, a lot of graveyard. This for 5 is getting it out onto the battlefield with lifelink. I'm sure there are other things, and we've seen lots of other things that recur for less mana and in potentially better ways. But it's always good to have something, especially with a bit of lifelink. Nethroi, Apex of Death. I don't think we've gone through this one, and I love this art. It's so creepy. It's a 5/5 cat nightmare beast for 2 white, black, green. Mutate for 4 green or white, black, black. Death Touch lifelink. Just the text. Whenever this creature mutates, return any number of creature cards with a total of 10, with power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Big mutate cost, 7 mana, and it's Death Touch lifelink. Legendary. Moving on, Cavern Whisperer, a 4/4 nightmare creature for 4 and a black. Mutate for 3 and a black. Has menace, and whenever this creature mutates, each opponent discards a card. It's okay. It's okay. Psychic Impetus. You see how commander cards and Ikoria cards are all blended in. Just so many cards out there, guys. So many cards. I'm just trying to get them out there to you. It's an aura for 2 and a blue. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, you scry 2. So you're kind of guaranteeing a scry 2 because it's goaded. I assume you just goad your own creature, or their funky commander that doesn't want to attack, you just force it to. So some decent play in that. Daring Fiend Bonder, a 5/1 human warlock for 3 and a black. It has haste, 5/1 with haste, nice. Daring Fiend Bonder attacks each combat if able. For 1 and a black, exile Daring Fiend Bonder from your graveyard. Put an indestructible counter on target creature. Activate this ability only at a time you could cast a sorcery. So, kind of a couple of points on there. It's a 5/1 with haste. It has to attack. And for 2, if this is in your graveyard, you're giving an indestructible counter to a creature. Yeah, okay, that's alright. Netherborn Altar for 1 and a black. An artifact. 2 mana artifact, like it. Tap, put a soul counter on. Netherborn Altar. Put your commander into your hand from the command zone. Good late game. Then you lose 3 life for each soul counter on Netherborn Altar. So you tap it, you put a counter on it, you bring it into your hand, you play it from your hand. Obviously you're saving the mana, potentially. If you've cast it a couple of times already, you might be saving 2, 4, 6 mana for doing so. And you're going to lose 3, 6, 9, depending on how many counters are on there. Like it. I think it could be useful, especially if you plan on playing your commander a lot, and the fact that it could be targeted quite easily. Agitator Ant. A creature insect. It's a 2/2 for 2 and a red. At the beginning of your end step, each player may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature they control. Goad each creature that had counters put on it this way. Interesting. Forcing attacks. Is the trade-off worth it for people? Who knows? But the fact that it could make all your opponents' creatures grow and then attack each other, no one's attacking you. Yeah. Fun little politicking card again, potentially. Deflecting Swat. An instant for 2 and a red. This is the red version of some of the cards we've seen already. If you control your a commander, not your A commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. You may choose new targets for target spell or ability. Useful card just to have that you can cheat out for free, that just redirects a spell that's targeted at you or maybe somebody else. Again, quite a good card. I would say it's a decent card in red commander. Glade Muse for 2 and a green. It's a beast, a 2/4 beast for 3. Whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, that player draws a card. Whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, that player draws a card. That is a lot of card draw for an instant sorcery style deck. So, Predatory Impetus, an enchantment aura for 4 and a green. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+3, must block if able, and is goaded. So that is gonna get sorted out if it's not careful. Probably one for a kind of aggressive. I'm not sure how. +2/+3. Yeah, okay. It's an uncommon. Yeah, it's alright. Manascape Refractor. This is an interesting card. I was reading it earlier on. Manascape Refractor enters the battlefield tapped. It's 3 mana artifact. It enters tapped. Manascape Refractor has all abilities, all activated abilities of all lands on the battlefield. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour to pay the activation costs of Manascape Refractor's abilities. Some rules lawyering needed for the activated abilities piece and how all of that will work together if you've got multiple cards doing similar things. So, yeah. I bet there's some absolutely gnarly combos to be had with that card. For sure. And then we've got another partner combo. Haldan Avid Arcanist is a 1/4 human wizard for 2 and a red. That's definitely blue. 2 and a blue. It partners with Paco Arcane Retriever. You may play non-creature cards from exile with fetch counters on them if you exiled them. And you may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour to cast those spells. Well, how do you get fetch counters on them? Well, we've got Paco, the Arcane Retriever. What a card. What a card. We'll just talk about the clothes he's wearing and the bit creepy that he's probably wearing the fur. But anyway, I'm sure it was all humane. 3/3 Elemental Hound, 3 red green. Elemental Hound, love an elemental. It obviously partners with Haldan Avid Arcanist. It's got haste. Whenever Paco Arcane Retriever attacks, exile the top card of each player's library and put a fetch counter on each of them. Put a +1/+1 counter on Paco for each non-creature card exiled this way. So we're saying that non-creature cards can be played from exile with fetch if they have fetch counters on them and with any mana. This thing's putting those fetch counters on other people's top cards, as long as they are it's just happening, and then you're getting, for non-creature cards, getting +1/+1, so this is growing. A fun combo, could be quite useful. Love elementals, so of course I like it. And then we've got some reprints towards the end. I think that we end with a few reprints. So we've got Jace, Architect of Thought is back. We've got Deadly Tempest, all about destroying creatures, is back. Masked Admirers is back. Quite a good little card there. Enters the battlefield, draws cards. You can pay cards whenever you cast creatures. Nahiri the Harbinger is back. Like it. Card draw, destroying stuff, or exiling creatures and artifacts and enchantments. Villainous Wealth is back. Target opponent exiling cards, and then you can cast cards with converted mana cost X or less, so you're kind of putting a lot of mana into this spell and then doing quite a lot with it. Silent Arbiter reprinted. It's all about one creature per turn attacking and blocking, and that's a German version of, I think, of Path of Ancestry, I think it is, which is reprinted. And then we're back to the start. So there you go, guys. That is today's set of cards. There are going to be more cards printed once this video comes out, so you know what that means. That means there's a video tomorrow. I'm going to go through them all. If you like them all in one place, I'm making sure I'm covering every single card I possibly can up until the point this video gets made. I'm absolutely loving the volume of cards. I'm loving the volume of people tuning in and watching these videos. I cannot say how thankful I am that you guys are enjoying it and watching it. It means so much that the content we're trying to produce is making a difference out there, which is great, and hopefully it's keeping you all busy. But a few other things: if you like any of these cards and you want to pick up any of the Commander decks, or you want to pick up any of the Ikoria products, I know, plug, shameless plug, but doublesleeve.co.uk is the UK website for you. You've got to get in there, got to check it out. Really great prices, great service. We're a small group of guys trying to do something fun and trying to get some cards out there for people and Magic products. So support us, we'd really appreciate it. Equally, the other thing to say is, at this time, just make sure you're all staying safe, you're all looking after yourselves, you're watching all the great content, and you're tuning in to the next one. Thank you all very much. We'll see you guys later on. Bye.